What's going on, everybody? We are back for Buffalo Bills recap. We were a little late getting the Bucs Bills recap done and to you, so I'm just going to combine the Week 11 matchup, and now we're fresh off of the Week 12 matchup against Houston. So I'm just going to combine those into two videos for you. It's going to be a wild wave of emotions in one recap video, because you have two totally different football games to recap, but I'm going to do my best for you. So we'll start with Week 11. Buffalo hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They win that one 44-32 in a game that the Bills offense started out really slow. A game that started out kind of like how the Miami game the week prior went for the offense. Just Josh Allen turnover, an ugly turnover. He tried to shovel pass basically out of his own end zone that wound up getting intercepted, and it was just a rough start for the offense in that game. But they settled down, they got going, and I know it's going to be kind of a cheesy way to recap it, but you know, they settled down and they ended up with 44 points. I mean, you know, it's kind of the good taste that we got out of that game's kind of gone after last night. We'll get to last night here in a minute, but yeah, 44 points for the offense, man. Josh Allen, 3 throwing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, becomes just the second player, just the second time in the modern Super Bowl era that's been done. The only other time it's been done was by Josh Allen, and that was last year against the Rams. It's only been done one other time in NFL history, and that was Otto Graham back in the championship game. I can't remember the year, but it's forever ago. I mean, they did a stat, and they said in over 18,000 football games played, it's only been done 3 times, and Josh Allen's done it twice in the span of a year. So 2 seasons, 1 calendar year. So I mean, Josh Allen's a freak when he's used properly, and I say that to foreshadow what's coming in a little bit. Bills defense in the Buccaneers game once again proved that they could not stop the run. You know, Tucker just went absolutely crazy. I think he ended up going for 4 touchdowns himself. It was over 150 yards rushing. You know, Baker Mayfield was able to pull out some runs himself. Just a bad performance from the Bills defense, but they did just enough. They got stops in big moments when they absolutely needed them, and even though they gave up 32 points, the Bills offense did more, and Buffalo was able to walk away with a victory over the Buccaneers, moved them to, at the time, 7-2 on the season, or 7-3, I'm sorry. And you know, you felt pretty good. You know, still a lot of concerns for me, even though they scored 44 points. You know, they didn't use James Cook in that football game. His touches were very limited, and that's frustrating, because he is the number 2 leader right now in the NFL. He's number 2 on the rushing list, and we're not giving him the football. Like, there's been a lot of people very critical of the game planning for the Bills offense this last month and a half, 2 months, and that's one of the areas. You have a guy in James Cook who is an absolute playmaker, a guy that you just gave a whole lot of money to this offseason and extended him, and you're not using him. And yes, he got a receiving touchdown, and that is part of his game, but man, you gotta feed the guy, and that was very frustrating. You know, in that game, receivers stepped up. Obviously, everybody's heard by now. Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch. Disciplinary issues, missed the team meeting. Sean McDermott benched him, and so guys needed to step up in the receiving game, and in the Tampa Bay game, Tyrell Shavers really stepped up, man. He had over 100 yards receiving, had a touchdown, and was able to get enough separation to where he was open quite a bit for Josh in that game. So, that was a positive. But I say all that, Buffalo walks away winner, everybody's happy. We go to last night's football game in Houston, a place that Josh Allen has not won in his career, a place the Bills have not won. And it was announced pretty early in the week, that C.J. Stroud was going to miss the game. Davis Mills was going to get the start at quarterback. And, man, as a Bills fan, one, knowing that we can't stop the rush, and you're facing a team that is, I believe going into the game, they were like 22nd ranked rushing offense, so bottom tier of the NFL. You felt pretty confident knowing that as a backup quarterback and a run game that wasn't very strong, so they were going to more than likely rely on said backup quarterback. And boy, the 22nd ranked rushing offense looked pretty good last night against this friggin' Swiss cheese of a Bills defense, and it's frustrating, man. I don't know how many times I've said that in a Bills recap video this year, but frustrating, I think, is the word of the year. The defensive line, man, they were getting pushed around all game long. I mean, both lines were getting pushed around all game long. And, Herbstreit even touched on it at one point during the game. They said, they double team one of the guys, creates a hole, and the Bills linebackers are so slow that the running back's in, he's past the line of scrimmage in the blink of an eye, and our linebackers don't get to him until he's already gained, 6-7 yards. And that's it's a recipe for failure, man. And it's been exposed pretty heavily, in this past 2 months or so. Even with Sean McDermott, kind of somewhat taking over the play call, and not much has changed on that front. And I think it's beyond fixing this season. I don't see what else they can do. I don't think there's a free agent sitting at home or on a practice squad somewhere that you can bring in that's going to make an impact. Another pill that's hard to swallow is you look at the Houston's defense, which, I mean, I put them probably as the number one ranked defense this season. They were locked down last night, man. And you look at their D-line, they got a guy in Tim Settle, a guy that was on the Bills roster just 2 seasons ago. And Buffalo couldn't find a way to use him. And he was making plays last night. I mean, shoot, he blew up Ty Johnson in the backfield on a handoff. Like, I don't know if there's a scheme problem, if there's a McDermott problem in his stubbornness with his defense. I've said it for about a month now. There's something broken in this Bills philosophy. And, for a team, I've said this a million times too, one of the few teams left in the NFL that has a defensive-minded head coach. Our defense they're pitiful. And the secondary, to their credit, they've done a decent job. I mean, I think they're ranked in the top 10 against the pass, which is surprising, all the injuries we've had in the secondary and just the old age we have back there. But yeah, something, I mean, I don't see it being fixed this season. And you lost to a backup quarterback and against a team that doesn't like to run the football, and they were able to run the football just fine. The backup quarterback was able to play off of that and find guys open because Buffalo had to sell out to stop the run. And I mean, to the defensive credit, they stiffened up a little bit, in the second half and held Houston in check for the most part. But I mean, to Houston's credit, their defense, man, is just nasty. They sacked Josh Allen 8 times, the most he's ever been sacked in a single game. I mean, he was pressured. I think they said over 25 snaps last night, and he threw the ball 34 times. So they were in his grill all night long. And when you don't have a wide receiver core that can create quick separation off the line, what's Josh going to do? And Josh is not without blame. He has not played good football either these past, month or so. But how much of that is him just trying to make a play, knowing he doesn't have a guy to really rely on? Like, we brought back Gabe Davis that, he's now played 2 games, and you can kind of see the chemistry between him and Josh. At times, Josh trusting to rip a ball in a certain area before Gabe even turns around. But for the most part, man, I don't think he trusts these receivers. And the play calling has been terrible to go with it. Like, I don't know why Joe Brady loves these quick out screens to try and, cheat his way for a couple quick yards. Like, it works maybe 1 out of 10 times that he runs it, and the other 9 times they go for no gain or negative gains. Like last night, Houston was all over it. They blew it up every time they called it last night, but we keep calling it. So I don't know, man. Like I said, Josh is not without blame at all. The last drive of the game, before he throws the pick, you do a freeze frame. He has Dawson Knox open. If he hits Dawson Knox is within the 5. I mean, he'll get down to at least the 5-yard line before he's touched. And he's a big physical guy. Who knows? Maybe he scores. And so that's on Josh. But at the same time, he's getting hit like almost as soon as he snaps the ball. So both, I'm all over the place on this, but the trenches were just absolutely terrible last night. Both the O-line and D-line were getting bullied all night long. And I still can't believe James Cook was able to rush for over 100 yards. I mean, it helps when he broke the one long one, but yeah, I really don't know with this Bills team, man. I really don't know. It's and their schedule doesn't get easier. And right now they're now 1 game up on Houston in the wild card. And if they don't find a way to start, reeling off a couple wins, Houston now owns a tiebreaker over them. So, I mean, the only thing the Bills really have going for them as far as tiebreakers, they beat Baltimore, they beat Kansas City. Those guys are going to be making a push. But, yeah, I mean, the division's gone. Congratulations, New England. Unless they absolutely implode, these last 2 months of the season, month and a half, whatever, New England's going to take the division. So Buffalo is now going to be forced to play on the road in the playoffs. And they don't play well on the road. I think they had a stat that after last night's game, since 2013, the Bills are now 11-12 in road games. It's a losing record. And now you're asking them to go on the road the entire playoffs if they want to make a run come January. So I've been saying it for a little bit now. I think Buffalo at best is a divisional round team. That's if they can make it out of the wild card game at this point. So I don't know, unless something drastically changes here, and I don't see it happening. Buffalo, I think it's going to be an early offseason for them. I really do. And I don't know what they can do going forward, man, because they're still in a bad cap situation. I don't know exactly who comes off the books after this season, but I mean, you can only restructure contracts and, do odds and ends things for so long before it finally bites you in the ass. And here we are. I mean, we are wasting Josh Allen's prime. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if this is a philosophy, just, issue that it's not working anymore. That's the only thing I can see is like we are so stubborn and set in our ways on how we want to do something that we let guys just leave. I mean, I came on here and I have bashed Stephon Diggs ever since basically the Cincinnati playoff game where he got in Josh's face. But all he's done since he's been in New England has been an absolute baller for them. A guy that was, Buffalo gave a big contract extension to, and we effectively forced him out the door because we didn't like his attitude. And yes, he's a diva and he's a prima donna, and yes, but you know what? He's a game changer, and he's a guy that you have to account for. And right now, the only guy you have to account for on the Bills is Josh Allen. And if you shut down James Cook, you've taken away 50% of the Bills' offense, and then you're asking Josh to be Superman every single game. And as we saw last night, he took a big shot from Will Anderson Jr., and he went down, and the entire city of Buffalo stopped breathing for a minute until we saw him get up, because we know, man, he's the entire offense right now, and that's just, it's baffling to me that we've let it get to this point. And I've said for a while that Brandon Beane really, he gets the benefit of the doubt with a lot of Bills fans because he drafted Josh Allen. But outside of Josh Allen, man, he has not done well in the draft. Free agent signings he's brought in, he has not done well there. I mean, sure, once in a while he'll find somebody in the draft, or he'll make a trade that works out. But I mean, shoot, look at Von Miller, that massive contract we gave him, and sure, he got hurt, and people can say what they will, if that derailed his career, towards the end or whatnot. That was a massive contract you gave to an aging guy that only had a handful of years left, and now we're in a very bad cap situation because of it. Dawson Knox, another example. We gave him a big contract extension, and then the next year, or maybe the year after, we go out and we draft Dalton Kincaid. And now Dawson Knox is lucky if he gets maybe 2 catches a game. And you can look at a couple other guys on this Bills roster. I mean, Joshua Palmer's a perfect example. We're paying him $13 million this year, and he's been quiet. Haven't heard much from him. I mean, he'll show up and have a catch here or there, and yes, he was hurt for a little bit there, but it's just a lot, if not 90% of the blame, in my opinion anyway, falls on Brandon Beane. I mean, this roster is so poorly built. So I don't know how much you can put on the coaches in that aspect. I don't know how much say McDermott has in the guys we draft and sign. I don't know how much say Josh Allen has in the people that we sign or draft. But Brandon Beane's the general manager, and in my eyes, 90% of this falls on his shoulders right now. So people may disagree with me. That's all well and fine. It's an opinion. If you disagree, let me know. Tell me what else. Tell me what I'm missing. And there's a lot of this game that I'm not even going to go over because it's not worth even mentioning. But, like I said, man, Buffalo in the playoffs, they still say it's like an 88% chance they make the playoffs. I really don't know. I have their schedule right here. Next, they have obviously the long week off since they played Thursday Night Football, but they go to Pittsburgh their next game. Road game against the solid defense. I don't care what their record says. I mean, right now they're ahead of Buffalo in the playoff standings. So, I mean, I don't chalk that up as anything. I mean, then the week after that they host Cincinnati, a Cincinnati team that now has a healthy Joe Burrow. Okay, those 2 games aren't looking good. After that, we go to New England, a team we've already lost to. It's a road game. That's not looking good. Then we go to Cleveland. I'm gonna just chalk that as up as a W just because it's Cleveland, and more than likely Shador Sanders is going to be their quarterback. So I'll chalk that one up as a win. Then we host Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley's going to run for 300 yards in that game. That's not happening. And then we finish the season at home against the Jets. So out of the next, 6 games I just listed, I see 2 wins on that paper that I'm confident in. That puts you at 9 wins on the season. You think you're making the playoffs with 9 wins? I don't care what the AFC playoff picture looks like right now. Kansas City has 5 wins. I don't know exactly what their schedule looks like. I know they have a couple tough games. They got Indianapolis this week, I believe. But you got to figure they're going to at least get to 9 wins. Baltimore, I don't know how. I know Lamar's still nursing his injury, but he's suiting up and playing. I don't know what Baltimore will get to, but we just said Houston now owns the tiebreaker over Buffalo, and they're on a heater right now. So I really don't know, man. I'm assuming Buffalo makes the playoffs. I'm just gonna assume. I mean, they have, like I already touched on, they have tiebreakers over people that are in the hunt, so they have that going for them, man. But to me, man, you're gonna have to get to at least 10 wins, possibly 11. And so that's going to put this week's game against Pittsburgh as a must-win, in my opinion. And then, I mean, hell, looking at the schedule, they're not going to sniff a win against Philadelphia unless Philadelphia has already locked up the number 1 seed, but I don't think that's going to happen by then. So they're going to get absolutely dog-walked against the Eagles. New England, I don't trust that game at all, especially because it's on the road. I don't trust that game. Cincinnati, again, we're assuming Joe Burrow's going to be back. I mean, he's practiced all week this week. We'll see if he plays this week against New England. If he doesn't, he'll definitely be back for the Buffalo game. We can't. I mean, the last time we played him, he absolutely tore us apart, and that was with a better secondary than what we have now. So I really don't know what other game you can steal to get you to 11 wins. I mean, it would have to be Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and the Jets. Those would have to be the 4 that get you to 11, because you're not going to beat Philadelphia, and I really don't see him beat New England right now. Maybe they do, but I don't see it. They have a pretty good run game. They got a pretty good defense. It's on the road, so I don't know. Right now in Buffalo, the sky's falling, but we got 10 days now to figure out what we're going to do against the Pittsburgh Steelers team that I believe as of right now is leading their division. So we will see. I could sit on here and ramble a little bit more, but we're just past 23 minutes on this, and I'm kind of sick of talking. So I'm going to leave it at that. There's a lot of Bills people that are on this page. If y'all see something different and want to talk me off the ledge, by all means, please leave us a comment. Let me know. But that's where I'm at right now. Anyway, appreciate everybody listening to my TED Talk here. I'm going to go enjoy a weekend of maybe not football related. So appreciate y'all. We will see y'all in 10 plus days after the Pittsburgh game. So hopefully the video then will be a little bit more enthusiastic. So we will see y'all then, and go Bills.